What's up, YouTube? It's Jordan here, and this is a new series. We are going back in time and reacting to the episodes of the podcast, starting with number one, Jake Wickham. Let's get into it.
Missouri musicians, then and now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Missouri Musicians Then and Now podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Bauer. You are listening to A Go Again from our very first guest, my longtime friend, Jake Wickham. What's up, Jake?
Cool. Good use of the music there. The volume was a little loud, but I really liked being able to feature music from the guests. But I ran into copyright issues as time went on, and I kind of got away from it. But that was good stuff. I like to begin the show with something, and then end with something, so that way the listener could hear some of the music just right off the bat, because retention is so hard. And if you threw it in later in the episode, like, odds are they probably weren't gonna be listening. So that was good though.
It's a Saturday.
It's a beautiful day. It's a good day.
It's
to
a
sit and
Saturday.
talk.
That's an inside joke
Yes, it is.
between
It
the two
snowed
of us.
yesterday. I was extremely upset when I woke up and there was snow on my car, and now it's a beautiful day.
That's Missouri for you. I understand you got a lot of stuff going on. You got.
I
a
was so
YouTube
nervous.
page.
I do.
Do you want to tell us about it?
Do you want to tell us
To
about
say,
it?
I mean, it's my little project, I guess, is called This Is Jake. I would say the URL for that for YouTube, but it's just a bunch of letters and numbers. So you would just have to
Before we
type
could change
specific
it.
music in your search bar.
How long you been doing that?
For 3 years.
3 years.
Microphone juggling.
What's your favorite video that you've done?
Oh wow. Well, my favorite
Putting them
comedy
on the
video
spot.
was Brave Little Toast.
That sounds fun. What was that about?
I randomly had an idea. I wrote this short little pop punk song, and I'm like, I need to do something.
Good
really
test
funny
of the
about
pop
it.
filter
So
there.
I told the wife, I was like, what if I do a whole skit about me just wanting to make toast and butter it? So I did. I filmed an entire thing of me putting it in the toaster, buttering it, eating it, enjoying it, and passing it on the couch.
That's awesome. That sounds like fun. How many videos do you have on there?
Oh,
I
have
I
no
just
idea now.
blazed right
Quite a
past
bit.
that.
I've never counted them.
Well, people are gonna have to go check it out and count for themselves and get back to us.
I mean, we've got toasts. We've got my Mario cover song.
Jake's a fun guy.
First
He does a
Christmas
lot of
song.
fun stuff. He's got a great sense of
Kind,
humor.
So Long Eye. What else did I do? My summer vacation video. My Zelda song. Did a Zelda medley.
Very
so who else is
talented.
involved in this?
It's just me.
You do everything?
Everything.
Drums, guitar.
The whole spiel.
Everything,
Recording.
Jordan.
And no programmed drums. That's all me.
Well, it sounds like that's really, really hard. I would never be able to do that. So kudos to you.
I'm such a robot.
It's a huge pain.
I think it was
wonder
just
why
the
I do it
nerves.
some days.
Why do you do it?
Well, I guess you can call it a childhood passion, I guess. I've always wanted to do it. My dream was to get older and have my own studio making my own music. Well, here's the time to do it. It's not as fun as I thought it was going to be, but I'm still doing it.
You know, that's an interesting point, because in a sense, he is realizing his dream. He can create at will anytime. He's got everything he needs to create and make music. And it brings up an interesting point of, what do you do when you are living your dream? When you achieve that goal, where do you go next? And there's a lot, as he said, there's a lot that goes into the creative process, and editing and writing and recording. It's a grind, and when you achieve your dream, how long do you want to keep up the grind?
It's weird because being older now, when we were younger, that would have been a really big deal. It would have been like a huge goal
Yeah.
for us is to, oh, we're going to record a music video.
I remember in high school when I was jamming with a friend who had a drum kit, and he was like, my older brother's band records at this studio, like in one of these small little country towns. And I remember
Studio.
he gave us like a little sticker advertising. He's like, when we start writing some songs, we're gonna get the hookup. We're gonna go to the studio. So I start telling everyone, like, I'm gonna go to a studio. Like, I'm gonna make it.
I feel like there was a studio in Tipton, because my band No Call No Show, that was a big goal for us, was to record, and we had heard of a studio, and it was a good road trip for us, and I think we had to like map quest directions and stuff. That's how long ago that was. Um, and when we got there, it was like a trailer. Um, and I can't remember much after that. I do know that we weren't interested. We weren't gonna do it. But yeah, we went inside and just weren't real pleased with the whole situation and the whole setup. So that may be the studio he was talking about.
That was making it. Now here we are. You can literally do everything all by yourself.
Yep.
Man.
Which is a beautiful thing that you can, but now it's kind of, oh, what's the word? Saturated.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like, well, that's cool that you can do that, but so can Billy down the street.
That's true. That's true. It's hard to differentiate yourself, but it sounds like you don't take it too seriously. Like you put a lot of work into it, but like, you know, you made a video about toast. Like you have fun with it, and there's other times when you put out some stuff that's more serious, and so you got a really good variety going on.
Yeah, I've got two different kind of styles, I guess you could say. Well, I haven't really done like a pop punk fun, thing in a while, but it's usually like,
And that's
I
what
gotta do
music
something
should
that's,
be.
like,
It should be fun.
passionate and heavy, and then other times you just turn off the distortion and let the delay take over.
It should be
I think
fun and
that's
it should
kind
be
of
full
the
of
beautiful
feeling.
thing about being able to do music is you just kind of do what you feel at the time.
Yeah, what's making it more difficult now is at the time, like when I did Toast and anything I ever did was just, this is what I'm in the mood for, this is what's going to happen. Gonna go with it, not gonna question it. Now I feel like I have to map it out. Like, oh,
Right.
I have to do this at this point of the year, and it has to have this mood, and then I'm gonna do a fun. It's like, nah, it's not working.
Sometimes
Is that the point when it it's not your dream anymore? Like it becomes work. It makes me wonder. You could tell at this part of the conversation. It's about 5 minutes in. Um, I've gone away from the Q&A type of format, which I didn't have any notes or anything. We pre-gamed a little bit. We had lunch at Applebee's and just pre-gamed. I kind of told them what I was thinking, but I was very Q&A, very robotic. And I think now we're just kind of chatting. We're just friends and just shooting the breeze.
you got to step away or reevaluate how you want to do things. Do you have anything going on now? Like what's coming down the pipe for the This Is Jake YouTube channel?
Well, last year was a very busy year for me. I was working on a video constantly, on a new song, a new video, and I'd always tell the wife every time, like, oh, I'm gonna take a break. Like, oh, that
What's
was
the end
exhausting.
game?
I did this for months. Like, I want to take a break for a while. No, I got a new idea. All right, back to the studio it is. Got to write, record, and do the video. I decided to take a break this year, and now I'm experiencing writer's block.
Oh, uh-oh.
Well, you said you got a lot of different stuff, bits and pieces of things that you'd worked on. So is there anything you're going to revisit during this time? Maybe you could finish up something?
I would like to, but finding like that drive to just be like, all right, I'm going to work on that one thing that I put on the back burner 2 years ago. You know.
Right.
Also, what I'm really struggling with now is I feel like I'm living in my own shadow of what I did last year.
Imposter syndrome.
Like, oh, last year I did this video, and oh, I did this song. Like, I love that song. I'm like, well, what am I gonna do now?
You trying to one up yourself?
I'm trying to one up myself, and it's not happening.
You're your own competition.
You know, we're laughing and stuff, but that's a serious issue for a creative person. Nice editing goof here. We have total silence for a few seconds. My recording program was and still is Audacity, and I edited the crap out of this episode. I went and I'd like deleted, inserted silence. Like
So I think I became like your musical friend before your friend. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
It really actually started.
We're going
with
into
a
background
basketball
stuff
friend.
here.
We would play the community.
But yeah,
song,
I edited
that's
between
what
every
started it.
word we said.
and then you're like, hey, you take me over to the band room. Be like, I'm learning how to play this song on guitar. Check this out.
I don't even remember that. That's great. I'm old. That's what's so fun about this. We get to remind each other of
Yeah,
things that
you
we
were-
totally forgot.
You were showing me a Nirvana song. You were learning how to play from the tabs, and you had, I forgot what guitar it was. It was a black guitar. That's all I remember.
Oh yeah,
Black guitar. Okay. It's probably the ESP.
Yep, that's probably it.
with
LTD.
the, whammy bar Floyd Rose bridge that always came out of tune.
Ah,
I
So
didn't intonate it. I
how
didn't know
and
how to do
when
that.
did you learn how to play?
What really started the whole thing was I had older brothers that were into their metal music. When I was I was in middle school at some point, and I got to go to a Pantera show. And during that whole entire night, I was like, "This is beautiful. Like, I want to do this with my life. Like,
Lucky man.
Because when I was really, really little, I had the fantasy of like, I want to be an actor. I want to be in movies. Well, the whole music thing just trumped it. I was like, I really want to do this.
You can kind
I
of do
didn't know
both
you
that
saw
way.
Pantera. I'm jealous.
Did.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So of course, from that point, we had some house guitar that was just. It really wasn't very good, but it was something. You start looking at tabs.
Got to start somewhere.
But I didn't really take it too seriously at the time until the music video for "Rollin'" by Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, I'm doing the thing. You
Yeah.
guys can't see it, but I'm doing the thing.
Rollin', rollin', rollin'. What?
So that kind of really amped you up and
It
made you want to
did.
do it, huh?
It was just like, now it's really time to start learning some stuff. And then Linkin Park came out.
He
and I
bought a
was-
red baseball
that was
cap
the
and
first
started
where I
wearing it
really could
backwards.
learn how to play a song from
Just
beginning
kidding.
to end. So it's like, oh, this is everything. This is
Linkin
it.
Park
And
blew
then, of
up
course, you go
when
down the same
we
rabbit
were,
hole from the early 2000s.
juniors and
I want to learn
seniors.
how to play Blink-182.
So that's kind of what you started out like wanting to learn how to play.
Yep.
Would you say those are kind of your influences then?
It was at the time. When I actually started writing my own music, it was some of it was kind of like, oh well, this sounds kind of Megadeth-ish, But then I kind of always wanted to do like the song structure of like Linkin Park at the time.
Okay. So how many instruments can you play?
Well, I only like to say two. Just drums, guitar.
He gave me the sticker that's on the
It'd be
screen,
illegal
and
and wrong of
he
me
made
to
that
say
logo
bass player.
himself.
Oh, come on. All guitars are bass players. You know that. You could say that. Is there anything that you've ever like wanted to learn how to play?
The violin would be cool.
Really?
Yeah. And then of course,
Shocking.
I always thought it would be cool to learn how to play some sort of like a flute or piccolo. And like when I was younger, I was like, that would be cool to incorporate that.
Jethro
Because I saw
Tull.
Korn play once, and when he came out with the bagpipes, I was like, adding in other instruments to kind of do an intro or just enhance a song was so cool.
Very true.
Never thought of that. I'm really surprised you said a flute. I'm like, what? There's got to be a metal flautist somewhere out there.
Kudos
I'm
to
sure
me
you
for
can
knowing
find
that
it
word.
out on the use of tubes.
That would be awesome. So we know your influences. We know when and how you kind of got started with guitar. So, how did a band come about?
Ooh, me.
No commercials or breaks or nothing. No transitions. We just had a conversation. And for what it was really good. But I'm glad that I learned that you need to break things up a little bit to help people's brain realize, hey, we're going to talk about something else.
Me and a buddy wanted to be in a band so bad. Like during this whole journey of like the whole Linkin Park thing, me and the friend just we wanted to be in a band so bad.
I should have asked who
So
it
we would
was.
pretend about being in a band, even though we didn't know how to play. So when we finally kind of buckled down and learned how to play a little bit, he got his own guitar finally. We had another friend in high school who's like, "Hey, I can play drums. Let's learn how to play a few cover songs." And it just kind of went from there. You know the typical of like, "Well, I know someone who plays bass. Let's go talk to him."
Right. So, what was your first show?
I know a guy
what
who
was the
knows a
band
guy.
name?
We had quite a huge list of names. I don't even remember what any of them were, but like one of them written down was Senseless Tragedy, and I was in love instantly. Everyone else like, that's kind of cool, but no. But I fought tooth and nail. I was like, I want this name because I envisioned it immediately. Like that just sounds cool. I used to Google it. Like write down stuff or lyric ideas of like senseless tragedy moments that you can find at the time on Google. Like, oh, this is just so
A lot
good.
of bad news
then when we finally
headlines.
started
That's what you
playing-
find.
I think we played like Seether, Taking Back Sunday, a few songs like that. We played, I think it was a Battle of the Bands was our very first show.
Those are fun. That's a great way to
And-
get started.
And we didn't have amps. So when we practiced, we did a dual connector, 2 guitars, and 1 tiny combo amp. So when it came time to play the show, we couldn't do that. So we just had little dinky old distortion pedals we plugged into
Oh
a PA.
no!
And that was our show.
Wow.
We're
Did you win?
we're recording at his house in his
Not even
Sorry, I
studio.
had to ask. That's
Um,
crazy. I played in a couple Battle of the Bands too.
the
They're,
acoustics of the room are
I know.
fantastic.
It's not
you,
fun
you
when
can
you
tell.
don't win.
No.
Otherwise, and you don't get paid either, right?
No, you really. Well, I mean, if you win, I think you get a payout.
It's not fun to lose a battle of the
So
bands.
you mentioned Senseless Tragedy. So, if I remember correctly, there was a lot of stars in the logo, and that was kind of like the thing back around that time was
And
the stars.
the MySpace era.
and the Senseless Tragedy.
Emo.
Kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say like emo,
It was.
but
it was the time
it
period.
was. There was a lot of that in the time period. So like,
I think in the MySpace days where you can have like the what is your genre slots and you can pick 3 things.
Yeah.
So it was like emo, metal, and rock, I think.
oh, emo was
That's
the
right.
first one,
You
too.
could pick 3.
Well, I figured that was kind of around that time frame. That it surprises me that they didn't really like the name. People didn't like the name because I feel like looking back, it fit perfectly at the time.
It did,
Definitely.
but I think what people didn't like about it, and well, the band didn't care for it. And when I've met other people, when they're like, "Oh, what's your band name?" I say it, and they're like, "That's kind of hard to say. It doesn't really roll off the tongue."
Hell of a lot better than no
Yeah,
call,
it is
no
difficult.
show.
It's hard to spell too.
Oh, come on.
When you write "Senseless Tragedy" 500 times on a demo CD, you start to mix the E's and
Understandable. So I was also in a band at the time, and we used to go to your practices every
Did.
now and then. What do you remember about any of that? Anything special?
Nothing.
I just remember when we had that garage, like right smack in the middle of town. So we were always having like some sort of like jam session, like after school, and you and another buddy and Teddy would come on over, and be like, we gotta go over there. This is a cool setup.
It was.
And then I think I started working on Alone.
Yeah,
LEDs.
That song, and
Big
you
amps.
guys would like come over to see the progress on that song in particular.
And you were gracious enough to let us hang out and be in the process.
It was a cool hangout pad.
It was. You guys had a good setup there. I think you and I, we kind of helped each other out in that time frame
We did.
because you were working on Alone and I was learning Until It Sleeps by Metallica. And I was jamming on the chorus chords, and you heard it and you really liked it. So I showed you how to do it, and it was almost like a trade. You showed me how to do like a pentatonic scale.
Oh,
It
that's
was a
Oh,
right.
scale of some kind.
it could have been.
So you showed me a scale, and that scale is literally like the only scale I've ever known. And
Yeah, definitely. It's just a basic do 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 do, and you could take that shape and just put it anywhere on the fretboard, and that's where 99% of my guitar solos lie. And yeah, so Alone was like their big smash hit, and so it was really cool to kind of be involved in that. I could still remember sitting on the couch with my guitar just playing, and Jake was really influential for my playing in many ways, but triple picking, he was all about that, and their style of music was all about that, and I wasn't. I was very grungy, very slow, strumming chords and stuff. So we really helped each other out. I don't think we realized at the time how big it was that we were doing that stuff.
everything I play probably has it. So thank you for that. But that worked out pretty well, like considering we weren't in the band together, and yet we kind of helped each other out and influenced each other in a way.
Which is the best way to progress in your music, by the way. So you always gotta. This is my struggle, like to go back to the now at this exact moment. It's hard to do things by yourself when you don't have any. You can't grow off of somebody else's like knowledge of
True.
music. Like, oh, I never thought about putting my fingers there, or I just
I
that's a really cool sound. What chord is that? What are you doing?
That's a good point. That's true. So after a while, I ended up joining the band. It was fun. What are your favorite moments of the band, like before I joined, and maybe like your favorite moment with me on board too?
Man,
was trying not to pivot and spend a whole lot of time on that whole thing because I figured it would get covered in the future. So I'm glad I worded the question that way because I did not want to take the spotlight from him. But at the same time, my part in the band was noteworthy in the story of the band, I guess you could say.
there was a lot of great shows we used to play. So when we first were kind of fresh, when we had the full lineup and we weren't doing cover songs anymore, it was all originals. We ended up becoming friends with another band that like they would put on a huge show in California at the Eagles Club. So it was always an honor to like open up for it. Like
Ghost in the Machine.
the place was always packed, completely just
It
insane,
was.
just wall to wall. Like that was probably my favorite moments when we first started. And when you joined,
That all stopped.
of course, your debut was the best.
2 gigs in one night.
Yes, we double booked it, which you actually forgot about until today.
I swear I had fun. It was great.
So there was a little bit of controversy of you joining this group. I don't know if you want to go into those details at all, but
We'll save that for another
we
day.
we worked on getting him up to speed to play all the
Literally.
songs and to play it well. 'Cause not only do you have to learn it, but like we were all about our performance.
Oh yeah, it was intense.
As in like certain cues of like this is what you got to do when the drum hits this or
Choreography.
yeah it kind of it's a show.
It's like
Very
a
serious
1980s
practices.
Poison video where you high kick on this part of the chorus, and
Yeah, why not?
it was fun though.
But I don't know, we probably worked a good month or so we were excited that we had a member because we were down a guitar player. So on the MySpace days, you could have the photos of your members.
Google it, people.
So we had a question mark photo, and then we just put the name Kyle.
It's like a secret character on Mortal Kombat or something.
It is. You got to unlock it. No purchase necessary. This was all cheat codes. But when he finally did debut, it was a Halloween show, I believe. Was it not?
That was the first show?
It really was.
I think it was.
I was in a cow costume, and it was awesome.
The second show was at the Boy Scout cabin, right?
That was the first.
The first, okay.
Yeah.
The second was, okay.
And then, of course, we double booked the night. So as soon as we were done, we took off our costumes.
That was
headed
crazy.
on down to California and played it. I don't even remember the name of the place, but it was cool.
I would
I
say
don't
that was
either.
my favorite time in the whole band too. Besides that, the process of learning the music, because you had patience and you sat down and you showed me everything, and I wasn't quite skilled enough at the time to just be like, okay, yeah, show it to me once and I got this. So the music and the lyrics and stuff, it was really on another level than what I was used to. So it was really fun to get to know all that and to learn how to play it. And I gained a lot of respect for you, like even more, because you were kind of the driving force behind all that.
Yeah. Going back to me joining and the shows and stuff and the practices, they practiced hard. They practiced for a long time, and they practiced loud. It was in the tiny house, very small house. His amp was on one wall, my amp was on the other wall, and they were facing each other, and they both could not get any louder. And the drums, Darren Blank beat the crap out of those drums. But it was great. It was intense, covered in sweat by the end of the practice. I could still remember laying on the floor after it was over, looking at the ceiling, like just exhausted. Those were interesting times for me because it was around 2006, I think, and I was working full time, and I was going to college at night and struggling, and practicing a few nights a week, and it was a busy time for me, but the practices were fun. I still remember driving to them because the Breaking Benjamin Phobia album just came out, and it was amazing. It was one of my favorite CDs, and the screaming in that CD is what I practiced. That was my screaming warm up on the way to practice. I had like 10 or 15 minute drive, and I would just scream until my voice was raw, and then go practice for 2 or 3 hours.
Well, thank you. Awkward response. Placement here.
So how long did Senseless Tragedy last?
As I've mentioned to you before, it felt like a lifetime. I was like, man, this probably lasted like 5-6 years. But when you really think about it, I guess we formed as a cover band when I was in high school, late 04. And then finally, I guess we had her split somewhere in the middle of 2006, I think.
2 years, man. A lot happened in 2 years.
Yeah.
Or 2007, now that I don't remember it. That was a long time
It
ago.
was.
I'm going to have to look at some dates.
You can
So
hear
what
my
do you think
editing
the
got
music
off
scene
timing
was
a little
like
bit there.
around that time period?
It was amazing. Because back then it was just, it really didn't take much to be like, hey, we're going to play, here's my little flyer, and we're going to go play at this little hole somewhere down here. And the next thing you know, 20 kids are showing up, and it's like the perfect hangout. People didn't care what style of music it was. It was just, hey, I know these people, and it's an excuse to do something cool and fun. It was popping. Bands were forming left and right all over the place.
That's true. And we had the buzz.
Yeah, the hometown buzz was very helpful.
Were you guys ever on there?
We had some difficulties of trying to get them to play new songs that we gave them. They'd always play the same one that
Huh.
we had like a guest
I didn't
vocalist
know
on. It's like,
that.
well, you know.
Huh.
I want to say that those days are over. Like, bands aren't popping up left and right. 20 kids aren't going to the shows. I guess in this little area of Missouri, I think those days are over. But in the big cities, even in like cities across the border, like in Kansas and stuff, and on the other side of St. Louis and Illinois, the local music scene is alive and well. You kind of have to just go further to find it now.
Yeah.
So after the buzz went away and turned into like a country station or something,
Shout out
Did it really?
Shags.
yeah. What happened? Like, did you notice a difference in the music scene then, or were you kind of disconnected from it all?
I feel like at that point I was so disconnected.
Did you go to any shows on your own, like as a spectator after the band split?
I did. I spent many years going to tons of local shows, getting a little getting that feeling of like, oh man, like I miss it.
I know what you mean. I did that when I would go see your shows sometimes. So, well, from you saying that, that tells me that the scene was kind of healthy yet
It was still
afterwards.
strong, yeah.
Yeah, and when the buzz went away, I think there was a transition period where the scene was still going pretty strongly, um, but eventually it kind of ran out of gas because the buzz was the engine with the hometown buzz and Shags and Ryan Barrett. Like they did comedy shows and they were friends with local bands and they were just really instrumental in the community and the music scene.
Like us splitting was not an effect on the music scene. Like music scene was still just hammering in.
I don't remember exactly when the buzz went away, but I do remember
Voice is still shaky.
after it went away, things were changing. Musicians, the kids in the bands, they were getting younger and younger,
Yeah.
and we were getting older. And when the buzz went away, like there wasn't an outlet for these young and up and coming musicians, and the internet wasn't such a big thing with like how easy it is to post something and record something. So I feel like it kind of started to flounder a little bit.
Yeah. I can probably see. I mean, because I don't know when it finally fell off, but there was a little while where the music scene just kind of plateaued,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, no one I know is playing, no one I know is going to shows anymore.
I can't really pinpoint that time period or think of something that happened or didn't happen that caused that. But he's right.
And yeah, I mean, the whole MySpace was there, but nobody really had music on there because no one knew how to record anything. You may have a phone recording of like really loud, splashy sounds. It's like, yeah, this is my song.
You know, it may sound weird, but I kind of feel like when us and the people that were in the scene at the same time as us, when we kind of went our own separate ways, I feel like the scene really cooled off after that.
And that's not me taking credit for anything or being a legend in my own mind or anything like that. You could tell I was really stumbling to get the question out because in my head I was thinking of that. Um, just from personal experience, that's just what I felt. It's like, I mean, he said he went to shows for years after the band split, and so I mean that kind of cancels out my point that I made just then. But personally, I guess it's better said that I withdrew myself from the scene instead of thinking the way that I said here.
I feel like that was kind of the peak.
It probably was because I remember during that lull, I remember me and you were hanging out for a while, and we were trying to write an acoustic song if you remember. It was I forgot what it was called. It was really cool, and it was supposed to be our
Was it?
comeback. So
That went well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is no scene now. I don't know where everybody is. I don't know if it's the scene is now on the internet or if it's just not in our local area or we're all just old and we're out of the loop.
I think it's a mixture of all of it
Yeah.
because I know there's stuff happening. It's not the same as what it used to be, but it's happening. It's all different faces, and yeah, internet. And
I think a lot of it now is that the pandemic really helped create a lot of self-taught guitar players. People didn't have anything to do, so they just sat at home and picked up an instrument. And instead of forming bands, I think more people became solo artists, and they went the route of playing gigs in bars and restaurants and stuff like that. I could be wrong, but at least in this part of the state, there's definitely a lot of that. There's definitely more solo artists than bands, in my opinion.
and we're getting old.
And
Well,
we're getting
where
older.
you're at, I feel like there's a lot of bars and different places to play and stuff. Do you ever hear of anything or see any flyers anywhere on anybody playing around here?
I don't really see a lot of flyers, but I know a lot of people play at the Mission downtown,
Okay.
which is a great little joint. I know some small groups that are like I'll see them on Instagram that they're playing there quite a bit. So I think that's pretty cool. I actually do know old acquaintances that are jamming, so I thought that was kind of neat.
So maybe the scene is on an app somewhere.
Yeah, there's no good old days of hanging outside the college in Springfield, passing out flyers and demos, and begging for people to show
I remember
up to
that.
to your non-sold out bar show.
I remember that.
A lot of hard
You're
work.
like, we're gonna stand out here and pass out flyers. And I'm like, oh man, really?
Yeah, you weren't really having it. You're like, why are we doing this?
It's the old Mitch Hedberg joke, and he said, "This dude came up to me and he gave me a flyer, like he's saying, here, you throw this away."
Yeah,
I
pretty
think
much.
a lot of people did that.
And they charged a cover charge too, and that discourages a lot of people. So not only are you promoting your own show, as you should, by handing out flyers, which nowadays that wouldn't go well, but you're handing out a flyer to something that they have to pay to get into, and they've never heard your music, they don't know who you are. That's a tall order. That's a big ask.
With the flyers. Maybe we should have put like, bring your flyer and you get a autographed guitar pick or something.
That actually would have been a great idea back then.
Prove
Like,
to us that this is working.
come to the merge table that we actually didn't have at the time.
Oops.
I think when we finally did have a merge table, it was the those poster boards that they do for like science projects, the like trifolds,
Yeah.
the Elmer's glue brand. That was our merch setup.
It
Did you
worked.
sell a lot?
No,
No.
No.
we didn't have a lot of product to sell.
And nowadays, you literally could do all of it almost without leaving your house.
Which is good, but also kind of odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like the T-shirts I designed, it's just sitting on my couch, just putting it all together, and I throw it on Teespring, and all right, go buy it.
It's nuts. You can be at your house, you can write, record, post, promote, and sell anything. You could create anything and sell it.
Right in your underoos.
That seems like a really good thing to be able to do all that. But I think that takes away a lot of interaction with other people. And if you're isolated and you're trying to share your art, I think it'd be a lot harder to do it without that personal interaction with people when you're trying to design something or record something or sell something. Just sitting on your couch in your underoos, as he said, it really takes away the human element of the promotional side of all this.
It's crazy. Like, so where does somebody like us fit into this music scene that may or may not exist anymore?
I'm not entirely sure. It depends on what you want out of it.
We don't.
What do you want out of it?
That's a difficult question. I'm not even sure what I want out of it. When I originally started it, like my new project, I kind of wanted the feeling of the old days. Of like, I wrote this song, beginning to end. Look, all these pieces. Oh, I've got the tools to record it at home. I can play drums to it, bass, everything. Just thought that maybe some people would enjoy it. Kind of like how they used to. Now it's just when you post, it has nothing to do with if it's good or not.
It's because you don't have the personal interaction, like I said.
It's
It's
just,
just there.
I mean, not to dog on TikTok, but in the swipe culture that we're in right now, like 5 seconds or less, you're done. It doesn't matter if the song or the music video you just saw blew your mind. When you swipe, it's gone forever. You've already forgotten about it. Now you're watching, you know, somebody jumping off of a bridge.
True.
I
I
hope
never
not.
thought about that. It makes me wonder. I'm gonna have to ask some more people. Like, what are you trying to get out of this now? Like, what am I trying to get out of this now? I don't know either.
Yeah, I would love to have that answer because maybe other people would have a better direction that maybe could help me a little bit.
Right.
I mean, with the way things are going, now they're talking about the main question is do bands want to is it worth it for bands to make a full album or to work on one song at a time? That is the new debate question.
I would ask that question 3 years later after this interview. I'm still curious about that. I would probably say no, it's not worth it because tying into what he said, people's attention spans are like, 10 seconds or less. So you might as well just put out one really good song and hope for the best instead of having to write an entire album and have filler or whatever. Just give it everything you got and put it out whenever you're done.
Because you can spend 3 to 5 years making a masterpiece album that people can get bored of or not even finish listening to within a few minutes. Versus if you do one song, people listen to it for a few minutes, no big deal. You only worked on one song. You didn't put all the time and the money into it.
Good point.
It's interesting. You don't want to become yesterday's news.
That's a really good point. I think we're kind of headed in that direction because everyone's attention spans are short, and everybody wants the best song. They want to hear the singles.
See, my timing is off again. You can hear
A-game.
a little bit of an
So
echo.
people don't want to sit through an entire album that has some throwaway stuff or some filler.
No. Not saying that, making an album is stupid or that long songs are dumb. It's just people want shorter content now. So
And you could go on YouTube and bands are streaming full albums for free now.
See, I was over editing, and my tracks got off timing because I was cutting silence out, and so that's why you hear a little bit of an echo. Yeah, what I just said here about streaming albums for free, that's a huge deal too. I don't want to get into the whole thing about Spotify and YouTube and how much the artists get from streams and plays and stuff, but you might as well just get your music out there and hopefully they like it well enough to buy a CD because nobody's going to Barnes and Noble anymore and going to the little booth and putting their headphones on and checking out 45 seconds of each of your songs on your CD. So whatever gets people's ears and gets their attention.
Yep.
And then you could see it track by track, or just stream the full album in one video. So I don't know if they're leaving like money on the table by doing that kind of thing, but if I listen to a band's full album on YouTube, if I like it, I'm gonna go buy it.
Well, good for you.
Right.
If you're an artist,
Well, no, wait,
comment
let me rephrase
your
it. That sounded
experience with
awful.
that.
I'm like, good for you. No, like it's awesome that you do that.
Specifically, the last time I did that was Seether's latest CD, the Si Vis Pacem Parabellum.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, I hope the windscreen did its job on the mic there for that. It's probably soaking wet now. So I heard it and I bought it, and I was like, this worked out well. I got to preview it almost like you go to Barnes and Noble and you go put the headphones
I promise I haven't heard this in a long time. I guess I'm just repetitive. I apologize.
on.
Oh, the good days.
Barnes and Noble. Look it up, people.
I always remember going to Hot Topic,
jeez.
and they had the CD section with the headphones, and they would display a few like new album, like new bands, and they'd have it plastered like, "Oh, fans of blah 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 blah, check this out."
Why
So
don't we
put
do
on the
this anymore?
headphones that everyone else has worn all day long.
It's a very personal, physical experience, like music can be, and I think that's gone away now.
Yeah, there's no treasuring a moment, and to be honest with you, it's just I fall down that same rabbit hole. Like a band comes out with a new album that I like, and it's like I don't even spend that much time listening to it. Because back in the day, like in your car, you'd have the one CD in there. You know how hard it is to have to pull the CD out, dig around to find something else. You listen to it beginning to end, probably for like a month straight,
That's true.
out of laziness and enjoyment.
And now we don't do that. We're just like, I want to hear one song. I do that a lot. Like if I'm around the house and I think of something or I want to refer to something, I'll literally just pull up one song.
Yep.
And I want to hear it. Before I deleted my Twitter, I was doing this thing called Songs from My Head. And on my drive to work every morning, I would have the radio off. And whatever song would come into my head, I would post it. Just
That's actually kind of fun.
yeah, just so people could be like, "Oh man, I've never heard of that. I like that band, but I never heard of that song." So,
That was really fun.
You're welcome.
yeah. So if people like us that have been around for a minute and we know a lot of music, like I don't know, you kind of have a YouTube in your head a little bit.
That's a really good idea, because there's sometimes where like I always think like if somebody would ask me, "What do you?" Well, actually, I got asked earlier this week by a coworker, like, "What are you listening to nowadays? Like what do you got?" I don't know.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
I YouTube a lot of ambient compilations that last for like 2 or 3 hours, so I can chill at work.
Frequency
It's crazy.
vibrations.
It's almost like the well has run dry. Like
Kind of. I don't know.
And people change, their habits change, their interests change. People get older, A lot of times listening to music was a very social experience. You'd ride around with your buddies and they'd put in a CD or you'd go buy CDs, The downfall of physical media contributes to everything too, because you can't go to Hastings and find CDs, and you can barely go to Walmart or Target and find CDs anymore. Some of my favorite memories were with Teddy. He'll be featured in episode 2 if we do another reaction. And we would go to Target, and he would always gravitate towards the CD section, and there was one little like end cap of new like up and coming artists or something like that, like people you'd never hear about, and he always would buy a CD, and it was really cool. Like we were exposed to a lot of bands that we never would have listened to otherwise.
I don't know if it is or just for me personally. It's just maybe I've gotten bored. I don't know.
I feel like there's not a lot of variety or evolution with a lot of music. Like it's all been done before, and I feel like a lot of stuff is very like formulaic. One of those.
It just depends on what the
Yeah, I guess
mainstream
in
wants
my
to push.
opinion, like this is just my opinion, but since now every everything's being monetized, everything is just about that.
Good
Any
stuff.
any fun thing or any hobby you can think of is just, oh, I need to be monetized from that. So then you have to follow a formula to be monetized. That kills the creativity because if you're creative and doing something weird and off the walls,
Like toast.
yeah, like toast.
No
It's just
disrespect.
there's the good chance that no one's going to go for it because that's not where the money is. So
Now, who
a
does he
lot of
mean by no one? Like, the audience isn't going to go for it, or somebody who could help him get noticed or move to the next level, they won't notice? That's an interesting question. I'm curious about that.
musicians that are recording at home, with all the tools that are available, like a lot of people are using the same programs to do the same thing. So it's like not a lot. There's just not a lot of difference anymore.
What do you use to record?
I, I'm stubborn, so instead of getting with the times and using plugins, I record everything analog. I put a microphone on my amp, and there it is.
That's awesome. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more like about your setup here, musically, and maybe like what kind of gear you use for videos or editing.
Well, my whole entire setup you see right over there, they're actually pretty cheap pedals that I've spent a long time researching, like what's affordable, but what gets the job done. So I've kind of slowly built that whole collection. And then the amp, being a homeowner and everything like that, and where I'm at in life, there's not much money I can throw into gear. So that Joyo lunchbox it's literally everything.
Isn't that something? Like, I think about that, my own experience when I was 21, 22. I had a 4x12 speaker cabinet with a head unit. Thanks to Neil Fisher for the help with that. But that was like $500, $700 with the head unit, something like that. Um, Being an adult now and working full time and all that, like that is a huge amount of money to be parking in a couple of toys. So being at this stage of his life, like he said, that's interesting. And you don't need a really big amp anyway because like people have neighbors and stuff. But his Joyo lunchbox thing was really cool. Look it up. Um, I didn't have a clue. It's almost like a little tiny head unit.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to try that before we leave here. I don't even know what that is. I'm looking at it. Everybody listening is like, I can't see this. What are you talking about?
So it's called the Zombie. Now, if you look at the title, I know it's really really small. In the word zombie, you'll see it highlighted with the letters MB. It's a clone prototype of the Mesa Boogie amp.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Metallica
Mesa
used those
Boogie's
for a
like, I
long
think
time.
Metallica uses those.
Sorry.
I'm not sure what they use anymore.
That's pretty cool. So you got a lot of Joyo stuff I see,
I like it. It works.
and a pedal board. What about your video
Interesting.
stuff?
I never had a pedal
Interesting
board.
thing about the pedal board. I handmade that in my basement
How come you never made me a pedal board?
because I didn't know how to before.
I mean, I didn't have any pedals, but I had a.
You had that cool demon Y I was always jealous
That's
of.
true. I had a foot switch, which had a short in it. You remember?
I probably would have got more pedals if he gave me a pedal board.
I do.
I always had to play with my shoes off.
And it always had a weird delay.
Yeah.
Like when you switch channels, like, oh, nope, pause. All right, we're good.
I remember
Awful.
a few Census Tragedy gigs.
Behringer V-tone.
I had to play with my shoes off, so I could make my foot switch work. And by the end of the show, my socks were black.
Oh, those dirty stages. I don't know why, but I remember specifically that Warrensburg show.
I do too.
The 400.
Your mic broke, didn't it?
It did. I think
We
so.
shared a mic at some point.
We did, and then you were asking the crowd like, who do you want to scream for the rest of the night?
We're actually sharing a mic right now.
We are.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, video setup.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Very
Would have been a good
simple.
time for a break
I'm
right
using
there.
just a cell phone. Really.
A cell
Really?
phone.
Yeah. So I started my videos with like a Go phone from Target, and then the beginning of 2021 when I was trying to like advance my video storytelling, I was like, I need something. I can't afford these expensive cameras. So I'm like, well, what's a good option? So me and the wife talked about upgrading our phones. So I got me a phone that's got a little bit more camera quality in it, and I think it's working out.
Go back and watch This Is Jake's videos and see if you can tell if it's being filmed on a phone. He hit the nail on the head, though. He said storytelling, and that's what a good video is all about. I'm still working on that.
Swimmingly.
You recorded all your This Is Jake videos with your phone?
Yeah.
That's nuts. I totally
Wait
wouldn't
till you
believe
hear
that.
the next part. The editing.
Well, yeah, what are you editing on?
The stock program for Windows.
Dang.
What is that called?
I think it's just called Video Editor.
What?
So if you can probably search it right now.
No way.
Everybody's like, I use Pro Tools.
Yeah, that's the insane part.
Photoshop.
But I will say I have small assistants though. When I was working on video ideas before I actually started, there's an app called YouCut Video Editor.
I
which
use
is
it.
a free video editor with no watermark.
Okay.
But it's only for your phone. So you can't really do, editing with your fingers, just not going to work.
True.
So if I need like transitions or like things to pop up on the screen, I'll edit the video on my phone and then take that spot and throw it in the stock program and finish it from there.
That is crazy, man.
But the problem is my quality of the phone camera is super good, but the stock program dulls down the quality when I
Ooh.
edit it, so my videos are not as good as it was, and it's always depressing.
Dude, I totally wouldn't have believed that you were using that stuff. Seriously, you guys need to check it out. Like this.
I think he said he uses Shotcut to edit videos now. And Shotcut is a little bit more complicating. I would imagine it has a lot more features than the stock Windows video editor, but man, he's killing it with his videos.
This is Jake on YouTube. The videos and the editing, like, it's really great. Like, I'm not just saying that as your friend or anything. Like, I could tell you put a lot of work into it, and I might have commented on one of the videos and said that, but
I should have.
and,
if I
all
didn't.
you people out there using all this expensive gear and stuff, go back and watch his stuff and see what you can do. The program that we're recording on right now costs $0. So
It's the same as my DAW. Waveform is what I use. All my songs are recorded with a free DAW.
Digital
a
audio
bunch of people are
workspace.
kicking themselves right now. Like, oh.
I purchased one plugin that I don't use. It was a vocal plugin.
There are no vocals in your
There's
videos,
no
are there?
vocals.
Maybe that'll change
No.
sometime.
To be continued.
That's a wise investment there, sir.
Well, if it was a $20 plugin, so I don't feel
Dang.
bad about. Which I did use for certain effects in some of my songs, where I'm like, this has got a cool like reverb option. So I have used it a few times.
Good. I got a few rapid fire questions here for you.
Oh, good lord.
What is your biggest regret musically up until this point?
My biggest regret was putting down my guitar in my songwriting.
How long did you do that?
When the band split in either '06 or '07, like I just was so frustrated. I couldn't do it on my own because I felt like I just needed a team, like I needed the backup. And I tried the acoustic thing at one of your shows once. That was just a miserable experience.
You were nervous.
I was so nervous. So I got rid of it and
He
started
killed
playing
it though.
drums.
He did good.
Which drums is just fun. I just got to tell it, like everyone's got to play.
See, I think he regrets putting it down because he's just a creative guy. He has to be making music and creating in some way, shape, or form. And when you go through a band breakup, it's a pretty traumatic thing. It could be anyway. So that's understandable. I did a similar thing uh, after I was finished with my last group in like 2016, I think. My guitar collected dust, so I get it.
Play drums. Just buy a drum kit. It gets rid of all your stress, and it's just fun. You don't even have to be good at it to have fun.
What kind of drum kit do you have?
It's an Alesis Nitro.
Listen
Mesh
to me
kit.
getting excited because
That
I
sounds
know I'm
badass.
answering a good or
It
asking a
does,
good
but
question.
It's the cheapest thing you can get.
All right, everybody pay attention. Pay attention to the drums in the videos.
We got this guy for $300 on Amazon.
You do not have to spend an arm and a leg to get good gear to get yourself going.
Which that still financially hurt. $300 is a lot
Yeah,
of money.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
for years of beating it to death, like it's awesome.
So your biggest regret was putting your guitar down and your songwriting down. It's funny you said that because a lot of people, if they go through something emotional, something traumatic, they run towards their songwriting and their music, and they write more music because of that.
And about that.
Yeah.
It's just weird because I've been in the same place as you, and I quit music for a while. It's just weird how the ending of music, it's like final almost. When any other problem you have in your life, you write a song about it to get through it. But then it's like,
Where's the song written about not writing the song?
that must be the
That's a better
finality
way
it.
of
Like,
of
you can't come
getting
back
the
from
point
that
across.
because you can't rely on it to get through it.
yeah. It's weird. I know what I was trying to say. If you're having trouble creating and making music, yeah, you can't use music to get you through it because people use music to get through a lot of their issues. I think that's a better way of saying what I was trying to say.
Which, during all those years when I wasn't, when I put it down, I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a deal until I started this project up again. And I'm like, I don't have what I used to have. So it's like, I just wish I just never would have put it down.
So you feel like it kind of went away?
Yeah.
All right. You heard it, people. Keep on going.
That's the imposter
So
syndrome.
What is
probably.
your thing that you're most proud of?
Ooh, most proud of in music. Oh wow. I will say in the Senseless Tragedy days, most of all the moments where that was my most proudest. Because it was always advancing.
Yeah, we always wanted to be you guys. You were advancing too because, there was always a battle of the bands, or next thing you know, you're playing in a different city, a bigger city. You're playing with a bigger band. You're making money.
We're opening for Psycho Stick in Springfield. I'll never forget that.
That's a big deal. That's awesome, dude.
Walking around at the show, not knowing what those guys look like. And I always feel embarrassed by this, but there was this guy who kept following us around everywhere we were going, like asking us questions.
It wasn't
And I was
me.
like, it was just like, hey, do you guys have a demo? You got a sticker? Like, where you guys from? Blah 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 blah. And we're like, this guy's just weird. Like, we don't know this guy. Turns out he was the drummer for Psycho Stick. And I was like, oh wow, we totally like we're kind of like stranger danger, you know.
Wow.
But he didn't introduce himself. He was
Oops.
just nosy.
Did you ever play with them again?
He was just
Good job.
nosy.
You dug your own grave there.
Yep.
You know, maybe he was thinking that they're not that big of a deal and that he doesn't have to introduce himself. I'm the drummer from Psychostick.
That's a interesting thought because a lot of musicians they don't. I feel like they don't look at each other in that way of like being starstruck. Um, Now, obviously, like if Senseless Tragedy would have opened for Breaking Benjamin or something, you'd be like, oh my gosh. But like, you just look at each other like you're fellow musicians. I mean that doesn't apply to every situation, but because there's a lot of guys that I've seen over the years personally that I'm like, oh man, that's Brian from Ghost in the Machine, and that's cool, or that's Josh from Shaman's Harvest. Like he remembered my name. I think everyone kind of has their own individual feelings about that, but um, yeah, the drummer from Psychostick was probably like just a regular guy, just reaching out to another musician and just trying to get to know him and stuff.
Well, I mean, probably so. But at the time, us kids were just like, oh, anybody who we've heard on the radio is like you're untouchable. Like you're not a real human being.
And you heard them on the buzz?
Actually, XM Radio was the time I heard that beer song they did. I don't think they ever played them on the buzz.
So, if you could go back and change something other than stopping playing, what would you change?
Good one.
Man, at the time, I was happy with what I was doing with it. I guess you could say what I would love to change is I'd love to change the mindset that I had and everyone had, back then that kind of made us all butt heads to call it quits. You think about it, it's like, man, that could have been handled so much differently. But, what a shame, At the same time, bands break up all the time. It's really not the end of the world. For me, it felt that way because I thought I was a ride or die situation.
I'm glad you said that because I have an idea. I'm going to tell you what it is.
Well, we're doing this right
We're
now.
doing this
live.
right now.
Live in the den.
That'd be a good name for this. I might have to go back and change it.
Fix it in post.
I want to have a reunion show. A reunion show of as many people from the scene as possible. There's many reasons for this. We're all older. We have kids. We have families. And all they've heard is stories about what we used to do.
Somewhat, yeah.
My kids are 9 and 4, and until like a couple months ago, they
Now
didn't know
13
that
and 7.
I was on
12
the
and
radio
7.
at some point.
About to be 13.
How'd they feel when you told them
They
that?
thought it was awesome.
Daddy's on the radio.
I feel like with the seemingly absent music scene that we have around here, I think it would be incredibly fun to get the gang back together, multiple gangs, and relive, I guess, for a short time, the old days, show our family and friends what we used to do, what we can do, maybe. I don't know. A lot of people don't even have gear anymore and stuff, but
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
I mean, it would be fun. It would be hard to pull off for multiple reasons. As you stated, like, not everyone has the gear, maybe the time, or even the desire. Or, here's the biggest one. This would be my problem. Like, oh no, putting a microphone on me again? Like, I don't remember any of my lyrics. The songbook is gone. I've lost that in translation over the years.
That's part of the fun. It's rediscovering it all.
It's like, I listen to it and I'm like, I don't know what that word is.
Would you do it?
I would do it.
I'm going to talk to as many people as I can, and I'm going to ask everybody that question and see what they say.
So far, what has been your results?
It's been very good.
Now, just to let you know, it's not going to sound as good as it used to.
There's a lot of people that would probably say that it didn't sound good back then either.
Yeah, there's also that. Just as long as it's not one of those like, yeah, Daddy was on the radio, he's going to play tonight. Daddy, don't quit your day job.
Our
Dang it.
kids get heckled and bullied at school because of their dad being a terrible musician.
He tried to be a rock star again.
Midlife crisis. Could be called a midlife crisis show.
But I will say I miss that the most is performing. I tell the wife that all the time. Like, I just want to perform. I don't know if I could do the whole joining a band and having band practice all the time and
Nah.
Having to like guide a group. But just I want to perform. That's what I do.
Is there an audience out there?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I haven't
Is there?
stepped outside in a while.
I guess we're going to find out, hopefully. Well, Jake, I appreciate your time, man. It's been a great day. You have a wonderful home, and it's been really good to see you after all this time.
I know. I've been avoiding him for a long time because I've been a hermit crab. Because, I'm just an odd human being now.
But I appreciate you, and it's good to see you, and I will hopefully talk to you very soon.
We will continue this. This is not over. We got loads of things to talk about.
Stay tuned. Thank you all. Take care.
Did I close with music? I didn't. Well, hey, there you go. Episode 1. Not too bad, a few over editing mistakes, couple timing issues. The equipment sounded good. The room sounded good. I was really nervous, a little bit awkward, a little bit cringe here and there. But, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and leave me a comment. Let me know, and we will do episode 2, which was featuring Teddy Wright, and it was a doozy. So that would definitely be a cool one to react to. I haven't heard that one in a long time. Maybe I wouldn't be so predictable with some of the things I was going to say. But hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's do this again. Thanks a lot.